Hey guys, welcome to the studio. Today let's talk about speakers.
I saw nothing else, and we go up in silence.
As you know, I'm a huge speaker super nerd. I started like almost half a year ago to test a bunch of speakers. I think like 6 or 7 pairs that I actually ordered to my studio. Not this one, the old one. Tested them, compared them. And back then I got EVE speakers. Not these really small ones like I think the one with the 8-inch woofer or 7-inch woofer. And I absolutely love them. Really precise and like still a good punch. Very flat, but still like workable, not so boring that doesn't make fun to do anything anymore. So I went with EVE as like the main company for this entire new studio. These right here are the giveaway for the remix competition winners. So whoever wins the competition gets these, a pair of SC203 speakers. I think they're perfect for like environments where you just need small speakers. For example, when you're on the road and you still want to mix somehow with proper speakers and you don't like using headphones like me, because I don't know, I just can't get a proper mix on headphones. It's always like the bass is always completely messed up. To be extremely mobile, they also make a backpack for the speakers. I've never actually seen that, like for studio speakers, a backpack. So if you need to travel, set up your studio anywhere, just put them in there and you can carry them around with you. This will be, by the way, also part of the prize for the first place of the remix competition. If you still didn't check it out, still didn't get the stems, you still are worried about when to submit it, I will link it down below. Just click on there. It's a Splice remix competition for my Stay song. As nice as the backpack and the small speakers are, for proper studio you need proper speakers. So I got the bigger versions of these small ones here for now, I think like almost 3 months. So I had enough time to test them and actually come to a conclusion how good they are, how they are performing. I mean, yes, what a speaker is sounding like, especially above 2,000 euros, I think is very subjective. It depends on so many factors. Your ears, the room around you, the music that you're producing, your preference, and all of this factors into what speaker you choose. For me, these are the perfect speakers. For other people, they might not work. So I think at the end, it's all down to always test them in your studio if possible. Especially if you spend over 1,000 euros for speaker, make sure to get a couple of pairs A and B, test them in your studio. That's the only way to actually know which ones are the best for you. But now that we got that disclaimer out of the way, to keep the comment section from people fighting over which speaker is the best, I mean, it's really pointless to argue about that. They all do a phenomenal job above like 1,000 euros. There's really not a single speaker I ever tested where I said like, this is total bullshit, you're wasting your money. It's really up to preference.
This time I know we make it. This time it's gonna be real.
So here in the B studio we have a pair of EVE SC407 4-way speaker with 7-inch woofer. I know some people hate me for putting them upright, but I tested like flipping them and putting them upright. It just sounds better upright. I don't know why. It's probably the room and the position to the speakers, so they're standing upright even if you don't like it. And here for the small room with the vocal booth and everything, it's almost a tiny bit overkill. Like if you sit here at the sweet spot, turn them up all the way, it just feels really good. Like you're really sitting in that sound. You can hear everything left to right, position your sounds. It just sounds really good. So these are nice, but as you know, we can go even bigger than 7-inch woofer. These are the big boys, the bad boys, my favorite thing. The first day I got them for 3 days straight. I didn't really work. I was just listening to music, discovering every single song I ever heard new. It's just brilliant what you can hear on these. The output, the volume, it's all really nice. They sound very dry, controlled, precise. It's really hard to describe. I also don't really like in reviews to listen to other people talk about how speakers sound. The only way to actually experience them is go and to test them and check them out and listen to them yourself. Because like, I mean, It's just joy, pure joy. And like the small ones are a little oversized for the small studio. These right here actually fit quite nicely because this studio, the A studio, is quite big. I think it's like almost 60 square meters. So we needed huge speakers. That was like one of the main reasons. It's not necessarily the bigger the speaker, the better. It's just usually more bass and louder. But you can totally get away producing totally fine music with entry-level speakers. This is really just for my personal joy, kind of. Well, let's actually turn them on. You get the switch on the back to give them power. And then usually they start up, the string goes once down and up again. And this knob right here and the entire DSP system of the speaker is actually the main reason why I choose Eve as my main speaker. Like, yes, I tested them in my old studio, they sounded nice, but there were like 2 other speaker companies where the sound was quite similar good, like slightly different, but same flatness kind of quality that I love working with. But here, what definitely convinced me was the system behind it. So first of all, with that knob, if you push it, you can choose to EQ the speaker a little bit. You can boost the bass, lower the bass, same for the high frequencies, and there's also a special setting to counter the reflections of your desk. So that's really nice and handy to have in this one knob. You really just push it, then the high is blinking, you push again, and now you can lower by -5 dB or increase the high frequencies. Then desk, low, and you can also turn on and off the LEDs if they bother you. And they start blinking if you're too loud. They start blinking, this way you know to just turn it down a little bit. These are not meant to be like really loud speakers. If you want to have loudspeakers, go for a PA system that is meant for clubs, festivals, and this kind of stuff. These are very precise. It is still pretty loud volume. I mean, we just for fun sometimes turn it up to the max, but usually we're working at less than half of the volume. Like, there's a ton of output coming out of 12-inch woofers. It's insane. So again, the sound amazing, really just fun, pure joy to listen to them, to work with them. You hear every mistake. They will help you a ton to make better music, because you can only make better music if you can actually hear what you're doing in a not treated room with not the right pair of speaker for that room. It's more guessing than actually making. You waste a lot of time, you get frustrated, your mix doesn't translate, and if you're wondering why, it's usually 90% the room, 10% the speakers. Here we got everything covered with absorption. You might remember the studio construction phase was a ton of work, the entire ceiling, back wall, corners, all absorbing. But then the main factor to go for these was actually the versatility. Because, I mean, yes, the knob is nice. Most speakers can do something like that in some form on the back. But these, you can actually flip this entire plate. You unscrew those 4, turn it around, and you could put this speaker sideways. This way you're way more flexible. If you ever have to move your studio, if you rearrange it, or you get like a ton of new equipment, a new desk, new stands, you might have to be able to switch the speakers around. So these go sideways, upright, and on top of that, these are the only ones where you can do that, like put them sideways, upright, and still mount them into a wall. So if you ever want to soft fit mount them into the wall, it's possible. You then just have to close off the bass port. So I got speakers for live that I can put either way and still build into a wall if I ever desire to do so. And then also what I like, they're analog, but still have like a digital DSP built into them. So they save the settings. So if you unplug them, plug them back in, the settings are saved 100%. And if you turn them up or you just unplug them, it doesn't make that clicking sound that other speakers do, because they pull the volume down and up every time you start them. Let me just put them into standby. See, the volume goes down. Now they turn off. If I push it, they start from a low volume and go up. This way you don't get that clicking noise that always freaks me out every single time I think my speakers are broken. It doesn't move the woofer with my older speakers. You just plug them in. It made that noise. The speakers plopped, and I hate that. It really freaks me out every single time. So that's gone. So on top of being like a really good sounding speaker, is also the versatility that kind of convinced me to get these. They fit really nicely into this huge room. If you're interested to check out the other speakers that they make, because they come in different sizes and prices, I will link it down below. You can also there check out the frequency response of the speaker and also the polar pattern. They even measured it with upright standing speakers and to the side, so you can kind of get an idea what they might sound like and what they could do for you. Definitely a good choice if you want something versatile that sounds flat, not too flat that it gets boring. And yeah, for me they work personally. If you want to buy any kind of speakers, just go again, test them, do your own choice. That's the only way you would find the perfect pair of speakers for you. So that's it for today. I will spend the rest of the day with these two, testing them out, diving really deep into the new functions. And let me know what your speakers are at the moment and what speakers you wish you had, like your dream speaker. It would be really nice to know. Just leave it in the comments. We'll see us tomorrow back again here in the studio.